Oh, God. We're sucking right now.
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think about what to talk about, but all I can fucking think about is like the protests and the riots. I'm like, I don't want to talk about that.
You have to.
So Instagram has told me.
Well, today's movie that we're doing has a lot to do with that. Especially the part with the police brutality bit.
Oh my God.
I don't know about the protesting as much. It seemed like the demons were on the side of the cop.
There was rioting. There was. The mutated humans, demons, whatever, definitely seemed like they were on the side of like the pig-faced fucking monster cop. But this is gonna be the hot take. He was beating a white dude in this film.
He was beating a white dude. That's why it's a movie, not real.
Oh my God, we gotta nuke this recording.
No, I think we're good, man. I mean, let's be honest. I support the protests. I think at the end of the day, we have some listeners who are cops. We do. We respect everything. It's a hard job. It's a hard job, and ultimately a necessary job. But there needs to be reform and change and measures put into place to I mean, I see you guys. I see the videos. You're getting a little excited. Maybe you got a little excited. You punched a grandma in the face.
Grandpa. It was wait. We're talking about cops? We're talking about cops, right?
Yeah, I mean, they do this shit every day. Yeah, Grandpa, Grandma.
They push that old man down.
That's just the one they caught on video, but I'm sure I'm not saying all of you.
Police work is a necessary job that helps maintain society.
I think cops should be paid more.
But
pay them more.
There needs to be systematic change that from the root, like an engineered control eliminates like any room for racism or racist behavior.
Exactly.
And there needs to be legitimate repercussions set in place for police and accountability ultimately set in place. The only reason that we're seeing this now is because everyone has a camera, but like, what about the instance where no one else is there?
Sure.
And the body cam footage goes missing. Anyways, welcome to Far Out Flicks. This week, we are doing one of my all-time favorite movies, In the Mouth of Madness. John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. This was your first viewing, right, Braden?
This was my first viewing. I had not seen this one, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, years ago when I was like really getting into movies, my friend Matt had introduced me to this, and he's kind of like the guru of all things horror. In fact, he also is my friend who introduced me to Lovecraft in high school, nice. Which ties in because this ultimately is a tribute to Lovecraft. It mirrors the title of Lovecraft's short story, or maybe it's novella, In the Mountains of Madness. And although the content isn't exactly aligned, that is like the clear homage to it.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot more similarities that we'll get into as we get down the road. But yeah, this movie is far out.
It's far out. It kicks ass. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
Oh, and if you're new to the podcast, we encourage you to listen or watch the movie prior to listening to us.
Watch the movie. It's your choice.
I mean, if you don't mind spoilers, like I read Wikipedia pages about movies sometimes before I watch them, and everybody thinks I'm a lunatic for it. But if you don't want spoilers, you should go watch the movie now. Come back, come join us, crack open a beer,
support our Patreon,
smoke a bowl, maybe support the Patreon in between.
It's not set up yet, but my email address is. Oh no, I shouldn't include that.
just give us your emails.
You'll get an email. Just leave it right in the pod. Also, give us 5 stars. Leave a comment. Subscribe. Your email address. We're gonna send you all something special through the email.
Yes, and by special we mean access to our OnlyFans page. Um,
That costs more though. That costs. We'll send you the link to where you can.
If we can shuffle it into the podcast fund and kind of like inflate our numbers.
I mean, that's what it's all about. Connecting the various.
That's Hollywood accounting, baby.
Is that social media OnlyFans? You got to connect the various social medias. So it's a network of revenue and cash flow.
But so In the Mouth of Madness was John Carpenter's third installment in what is now known as the Apocalypse trilogy, which of course starts with The Thing, followed by The Prince of Darkness. Probably a little bit more obscure for some of our listeners. But
I've not seen The Prince of Darkness.
If you haven't seen,
I love The Thing.
If you haven't seen The Thing, you just need to watch. Just stop listening and watch it right now. You're living under a rock, man. It's like one of the best movies.
And if you like The Thing, I would say check out In the Mouth of Madness.
Yes, very similar parallels. But it's the third installment of his Apocalypse trilogy. This one is in my opinion the headiest of the three. Probably undisputably.
I haven't seen the second one, so I can't attest.
The Prince of Darkness is alright. I mean, it's good.
What's the premise of that one? I'm assuming we're not going to do that one on the show.
We might. Man, let's leave it.
Well, tell me what the apocalypse... Let's talk more about the apocalypse.
As it sounds, it's like the rise.
All of them, the end of the world kind of happens, and they all end on kind of a down note, and they're pretty dark.
Yeah, that one's like the rise of like the Antichrist, basically. The screenplay was written by Sam DeLuca and John Carpenter. Carpenter had originally passed on it a few years earlier, which, eventually circling back decided it was a good idea.
Decided, oh wait, I'm never going to think of anything that creative.
It's pretty far out there.
The script is amazing.
It is. It plays with, and much like most Lovecraft, it plays with what is reality and insanity, and kind of like sanity dictating what reality is. Which, like, if you're fucking nuts, your reality is probably a little bit different than mine.
It's like those scientists. It's like simulation theory almost. Like scientists have. I don't know who these scientists are. I just heard this shit, but some scientists have figured out a probability that we're more likely in a simulation than not in a simulation. That shit ties all into this book or into this movie because that's basically what it's talking about, man. Like someone wrote, or even religion. Fucking dude, it goes so deep.
It goes so deep, and the overall theme is what we believe is reality is reality.
Sure.
And I can get down with that. That like at a base level is a pretty good.
I mean, that's like the foundation of like modern philosophy. It's
exactly.
Like, fucking this guy Descartes. His whole thing was.
This guy Descartes.
He's the guy who said, "I think that, therefore I am."
Hey, bingo.
And basically, his whole idea was.
We took some notes in school.
Exactly, I remember this shit. I took a few philosophy classes. This guy's like the fucking forefather of all this shit. But he said basically, if everything that I know comes through my perception in my five senses, then obviously you could do thought experiments of different circumstances that would manipulate those.
Yeah.
Anyone who's been drunk knows that your mind perceives reality. It has nothing to do with the external reality. It's all happening in the brain.
Far out.
Far out, man.
Far out. So the film centers around John Trent, played by Sam Neill.
Who's amazing in this.
A true horror. I mean, I don't want to typecast him as a genre actor in horror, but he loves doing horror, and he's done some of my favorite horror movies, like Event Horizon and La Possession, and arguably even Jurassic Park. It scared the shit out of me when I was like 6 years old or whatever.
Great movie, man.
Yeah, it is a great movie. But it centers around John Trent, who's a insurance fraud investigator. And the movie kicks off with him interrogating this like very, very...
No, I think the opening scene is he's in the loony bin.
Oh, you're so fucking right.
He's in a room with padded walls, and he's gone totally insane.
Well, it's him getting checked in, and he kicks the the orderly in the nuts.
Okay.
And then he's like, "Sorry about the balls," when he's locked up.
This is all foreshadowing, basically, what's gonna happen.
Yeah, some like almost like in medias res, or like starting at the end kind of shit. But so he's in the loony bin. He draws cruciforms all over the walls.
Yeah, what's
and
up
himself.
with that? I never did totally understand that part.
It's not like elaborated on. We can assume this movie was made in the 90s, and the dude's like super Caucasian. It's assumed he was probably Christian, and that was just like his way of coping with reality crashing down around him.
Interesting.
Maybe
there were some Jesus symbols throughout the whole film that I never delved too deep in my research into that, but
I think that the symbology there is just that like reality is altering, and like what was perceived as the god of this world is no longer kind of like a big theme of this is like similar to American Gods. For those of you who've read that book, and if you haven't, plug your ear holes for like 5 seconds. In American Gods, it's like the idea of like humans worship basically fuels the gods. So like older mythology figures, whether it be like Norse mythology or Greek, like Zeus or Odin, are like kind of weak at this point because they're not getting fucking worshipped.
Right.
But things like the internet is like all super powerful. So
sounds awesome.
The big premise of this is like what is believed, again, is what dictates reality.
Sounds about right.
So he starts off in the loony bin, and then it jumps to him, basically the start of his narrative, in investigating or interrogating this guy who like committed one of the classic blunders of insurance fraud. If you're gonna burn down your warehouse and like give your wife a fur coat, you like probably shouldn't also give your mistress a fur coat, because
what a dumbass.
What a dumbass, man.
First of all, if you burn down your own business, don't give anyone any fur coats.
Oh yeah, just take the payout.
You need to look poor now for a while.
Yeah,
until it's accepted. Like, you better be looking like your business burnt down. You better not be smiling and all happy.
No, and if you are, again, don't give merchandise that you claim was engulfed in flames.
I'm not telling anyone how to. I'm just saying.
I mean, we're not saying.
If I did it. That's the name of O.J. Simpson's book.
Oh, fuck, it is. So anyways, this is how the character's introduced. He interrogates this guy, gets him to crack, and he's basically contracted by a big insurance firm for a publishing company that apparently some situation's going to cost the insurance company millions and millions of dollars.
The publishing company?
No, well, both, ultimately, because they're filing a claim for Sutter Kane, the titular writer of this, who we're going to get to in just a second. But basically, he's hired to locate this writer, Sutter Kane, who's gone missing. The publishing company is trying to file an insurance claim because they don't have the work that's owed to them, and this writer has disappeared. The insurance company has hired John Trent, a.k.a. Sam Neill, to get to the bottom of it and locate this man so they don't have to pay out millions of dollars in a massive insurance claim. So Sutter Kane is like an analog to Stephen King, obviously with S and K, and the fact that he's this incredibly influential pulp horror writer.
I feel like, this movie was highly influenced by Lovecraft, but from my eyes, I would say equally so from Stephen King.
Sure.
It plays out like if you told me Stephen King wrote this story, I would believe you.
Sure. I would say that that's not a far leap. But again, Sam DeLuca. To give credit where credit's due. But basically, it's just a big nod to Stephen King, right? So like Sutter Kane, SK, has got the same number of syllables. I mean, it's just they even at one point say he outsells Stephen King. So
the guy is Stephen King.
It's
literally they wanted to just say Stephen King for legal reasons.
they couldn't. They had to come up with a new character.
Exactly.
But this guy sells billions of books, translated in like 80 languages, I think is what they say. And at first, Sam Neill is very suspicious. I mean, probably as an insurance fraud investigator is naturally, but
Sam Neill is a fantastic actor.
Yeah, the guy's acting chops are huge.
He's got his own style. Like, he kind of kills it in this movie.
And again, so many horror movies that I like that he has done. I mean, anyways, we'll keep the Sam Neill worship to a minimum for the rest of the podcast, but he is just absolutely awesome.
He's cool.
But his character is suspicious. He's introduced to kind of like the female lead across him, Linda.
Linda Stiles.
Linda Stiles, who is an editor for the publishing company, specifically Sutter Kane's editor.
And she's kind of a babe.
She's kind of a babe.
She gets hotter when she just goes totally insane.
That's just like probably indicative of her dating preferences.
Exactly. It gets old quick though.
It does. No.
Sorry to any of our female fans who might be listening.
If you are a crazy female fan, please send us all of the fan mail. Braden especially.
I don't know about that. I have a loving girlfriend.
So he and Linda kind of are introduced. He's flirting, he's shooting his shot. She turns him down.
You should see Sam Neill try to hit on a chick. He fucking was like Sean Connery up in this bitch.
Yeah, but like New Zealand. Not that that's bad. So they part ways, and it cuts to a scene at a diner where Sam Neill's talking with his employer, the insurance executive or whatever. Yep. And kind of out of the backdrop, you see this deranged, dirty-looking man.
Crazy guy with an axe.
Big axe. Just
deranged axe murderer.
Walking towards their window seat at this diner. And he just comes up and goes, full Jack Torrance on it. Just starts chopping, breaking down the glass.
Breaks the glass.
And he climbs in. Sam Neill's on the floor now, shocked, horrified. And he says, up close to him, or gets closer, says, "Do you read Sutter Kane?" And maybe poorly edited audio. Yep. As far as the rest of the film is gold, but it always stands out to me. It sounds funny there. But if you're paying attention, his eyes, it's like he's got two pupils that are splitting, kind of like cellular.
That doesn't exist in nature, right? It almost looks like a frog's eye or something.
I would say like goats. No,
goats have square eyes.
Rectangulars, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but like it's like the two pupils are like a Venn diagram,
right?
Almost with some crazy colors like blue and green. Definitely something is going on there.
Alien.
It turns out that that man is Sutter Kane's agent. So as John Trent starts like reading more and more of the work, trying to get familiar with the mind of Kane so he can track him down, he starts to kind of have like visions. It's almost like...
Well, the agent, you didn't say the agent, they shoot him.
Oh yeah, they shoot his ass.
He's about to kill him. He's the guy with the axe is about to kill, what's his name?
John Trent.
John Trent. The guy with the axe is about to kill John Trent, and then there's just police who happen to be in the diner.
Yeah. Dude, two of them, two very, very clean-cut, handsome police officers.
Alert. They fucking took charge of that situation.
Yeah, they blow this dude.
And it's interesting.
Back like 10 feet.
Apparently, Sam Neill got cut with a piece of glass.
Oh, yeah, when they broke it. Yeah.
And it, apparently he was not too happy about that.
I mean, can you blame him? I would be pretty pissed.
It was fake glass. But
which is made of sugar.
It's still dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, pointy things are pointy. It only takes like very little pressure to rip human skin.
I don't like pointy things.
So, anyways, the agent, who is now dead, was like kind of going through some mutations, and
go through some mutations, man. That's what life's about.
Yeah.
It's partially purposeful change, and then there is some degree of just reacting to the things that are also happening.
Yeah, I wish I was a mutant. You know, big X-Men fan. Many times in my adolescent years.
What would your mutant power be? What are you trying to do?
Whoa, man. I mean, like, do I get to pick it, or like, what would it probably be?
What would it probably be?
I want to be able to grow more dicks.
Grow more. Damn, that'd be handy for threesomes, right?
Threesomes, foursomes.
Orgies.
I mean, you could just turn yourself into like a sea anemone of fucking penises.
Are we talking like? So later on in the movie, Grandma. Later on in this movie, I'm just gonna jump way ahead because this is relevant. There's a grandma who has tentacles coming out of her chest.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Dicks? Or...
Correct, butt dicks.
Butt dicks.
Butt dicks. Hey.
Sounds odd. It's not the superpower I would choose.
Well, I didn't ask you what superpower you wanted, so there's that. Okay, so plowing on, because there's so much content to cover.
We got too much.
John Trent is like reading more and more of Sutter Kane's works. He even admits that it's kind of good. He kind of likes it. He makes a note saying he doesn't know if it's the extremely descriptive writing, which I feel like is an additional nod to Stephen King.
Right.
But he starts to like kind of have these dreams, or it's almost like he can't distinguish what's a dream from what reality is.
Sounds like every day for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I living in a dream? What is? Am I escaping reality, or what's happening?
You gotta lay off the mushrooms, man.
Take more.
Take more. That's actually our official stance. Here at Far Out Flicks Podcast, take more.
Exactly. I still think reality is like there's a 10% chance it might be real, so I probably better take more.
Yeah, just to be sure.
Exactly.
So reality and his dreams kind of start to blur. He's seeing really horrific, kind of like mutated people, which another kind of call out to Lovecraft.
Hey man, I live in South Carolina. I see mutated people all the time. I try not to even go to the Walmart and I need things from the Walmart, and I've been meaning to go, but like part of me is procrastinating because of the mutated people.
Get joy and satisfaction out of spreading their virus.
God, it's too real. It's too real.
Too real.
Alright, continue.
So, eventually, when he's having these dreams, he realizes that all the covers of Kane's other works, and to go through a few titles of them, The Thing in the Basement, Mouth of Madness is obviously
the fictional books within the movie.
Haunter Out of Time, The Breathing Tunnel, and The Feeding, just to go through a couple. But
all Lovecraft nods, right?
Yes, they are all Lovecraft nods, slightly altered to the titles of his works. And in the case of Haunter Out of Time, actually a combination of two.
Okay.
But
what's your favorite Lovecraft work?
That's a tough question, man.
I can say mine first.
Okay, let's hear yours.
Well, I've read a few, but the one that always sticks with me is the one my friend Adam showed me. I probably should know what it's called. It's a guy at the bottom of the sub, and he's like a submarine commander in the war. And like slowly everyone goes insane, and then he kills them all. And then after he kills all his crew, he sees like alien lights outside. Which this ties directly into what those Russian cosmonauts saw on the Fletcher.
Yeah.
Because it's almost the same fucking shit. I'm pretty sure in this Lovecraft book he sees like some angels or something on the outside.
So the title of that story is The Temple.
The Temple kicks ass. And he does see a temple, I believe. And
sure, and that's like a recurring theme in Lovecraft. Like there's a like ancient temples that
Ancient
defy
aliens.
ancient temples like at the bottom of the sea from the time of the old ones. Basically, the slimy monsters that we all subconsciously know exist.
Hey man, I'm down with the old ones. I visit the old people all the time.
Go to the old people's home. But the temple under the ocean is like a reoccurring theme through Lovecraft's work. My favorite Lovecraft story is probably In the Mountains of Madness, which kind of feels like a cop-out.
It's a cop-out.
It was
He's
a
just
cop-out
making
answer.
that up. You can't think of any.
I actually haven't read any at all. No, I have. Please trust my credibility, fans.
It's too late.
It's all gone now. But so John Trent realizes that he can cut out little like outline sections of all of the covers of these books, and it basically makes a map of New England.
How did he? That was a jump for me.
He's an investigator. He's a fucking Sherlock Holmes, man.
What is he, Batman? Like, how did he?
He's like a Sherlock Holmes that specializes in insurance fraud.
That was intense because I saw that part and I didn't. How did he? That was a bit of.
I mean,
stretch.
I don't know, man. It just came to him. He was having fucking trippy dreams at that point. Weird dreams. But
it was probably written in the book that he would do that.
This is true, but we're getting there. We're getting ahead of ourselves, putting the fucking cart before the horse.
There we
go. So he brings back this information to the insurance, the publishing company. Which, by the way, the big publishing executive is played by Charlton Heston. Very, very classy addition to the film.
He was probably way overpaid for the amount of work he did.
For his minimal screen time.
Yeah, and his fucking acting was minimal too. Like, how hard is it to play a rich old white man?
As a rich old white man. Yeah, really got the method acting down there.
Exactly. There was no acting going on. He said words.
Well, he delivered lines. I
agreed
to disagree. I like Charlton Heston and everything.
No, I like him. But he could have, I don't know. He wasn't even that fucking angry.
Well, he was
like, it's a stressful time right
He's
now.
a smaller character, and he's being, civilized as an executive.
The budget of this movie was only $10 million. They probably barely even paid him anything.
And factoid about that, they shot most of the scenes in actual places in Toronto to avoid having to build sets for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to make a movie, that's what I would do.
Yeah, it seems way cheaper. But what do we know? We make podcasts.
I'm making a movie next.
Okay.
Far Out Flicks will be our production company. I can just see it 20 years from now, man.
Just like in a podcasty way.
It all just runs together, man.
Synergy. So he brings the information back to the publishing company, and basically they're going to go to this little town that doesn't actually exist in real life, but it is identified in Kane's works
as fictional
Hobbs End.
Yeah.
The Hobbs End Horror, that was another one of the Kane books that I failed to mention earlier.
That's the important one.
It is. So he goes and is sent with Linda, the woman he already shot his shot with and failed. Came up short just a little bit.
Yeah, but I like to think that they were doing behind the scenes. Some hanky-panky was happening.
That's just speculation.
Maybe.
Anyway, she definitely tries.
She does try, and what's wrong with him? He's too busy.
So they're sent to this town, and when they're going there, she sees this little kid on a bike with a fucking card clipped in the spokes or whatever to make the sound. Another Stephen King nod.
Weird little ghost children.
Another Stephen King nod.
Yep. Stephen King likes kids.
No, wrong. We're not saying that. We're not saying that. That didn't.
They're in his books a lot.
And there is a child orgy in it. But Stephen King, I'm a big fan. Don't take my partner's slander against you personally or out on me.
That's not slander.
It's getting goddamn close to
he likes kids, man.
So they go to Hobbs End and they see this weird kid on a bike out in like the middle.
Before Hobbs End, though, we totally skipped the police brutality.
Oh my! Oh, I don't.
We
even
missed
know,
quite
man.
a few things, man.
It's a touchy subject right now.
There's a fucking cop beating a guy in an alley, and then he looks right at the main character and says, "Do you want some too, buddy?
Do you want some too, buddy?"
And then
there's also a fat cop. Like I feel like if a cop like that was beating me with a baton, I'd probably whoop his ass.
I mean, honestly, there's like 10 homeless people in this alley. One's getting beat up. It's one cop. In reality, that cop would be fucking toast.
Toast. The bums would get him.
The bums would get him. And I'm just saying, I don't know, man. This is a touchy subject.
Are we allowed to say bum?
Of course, man.
I guess we can say whatever the fuck we want.
Is bum offensive now?
Dude, I don't know. I just don't even know.
Disadvantaged persons. There were some disadvantaged persons in the alley. And there was a cop kicking the shit out of a disadvantaged person. So, moving on.
So back to the car. They're in the car driving to Hobbs End, which is this fictitious place in the Sutter Kane universe. But
in New Hampshire, correct?
New England.
New Hampshire's in New England. I think. I don't know, man.
I'm just a dumb Southerner. I don't know what's north of North Carolina.
I don't know. New Hampshire. Is that from them Lord of the Rings book?
Sounds British. So yeah, it's New Hampshire. So they're driving to this super rural, supposedly non-existent place, and like for whatever fucking reason, Sam Neill's got this like clown horn in his glove box, and he fucking honks it and wakes the girl up. I mean, like, if somebody does that to me on a car ride, I'm not fucking talking to him for the rest of the car ride. The friendship is done. Why are you honking horns when I'm snoozing?
Someone honks a clown horn at me. Fucking, that's...
And again, of all the things to have, and like, you got a horn on your steering wheel, why would you have a clown horn in the glove box?
That's rude. That's pretty rude.
It's bizarre. Strange behavior.
That's upsetting.
Yeah, again, that'd be the end of our friendship. But they're driving, anyways, they like switch places. She's driving, he's snoozing, and she sees this like boy on a bike, again, with the card clipped into smacking the spokes, obvious Stephen King reference. Or maybe not so obvious. I think it's an obvious Stephen King reference. So she sees him and then like drives past, and then like in the next instance he's coming towards them again. And now he's like all old and has like super long freakish hair.
That part's pretty cool. The old man.
So it's when shit starts getting weird, when they like.
This is when it gets a little weird.
Yeah. So they basically have this like kind of like strange dreamlike sequence. They start feeling weird, and they get to Hobbs End, and immediately the editor starts noticing that it basically is the Hobbs End described.
Don't they hit that old man?
Oh yeah.
That old man passes them on the bike,
mm-hmm.
and then he passes again, and then finally he's right in front of the car, and they smash into him.
But then he just like gets back up and fucking.
Yeah, they all get out of the car. They're like, "Yo, are you okay? Are you okay?" And the guy, all of a sudden, he's just on his bike and he smiles and rides away.
Yeah, again.
And he's weird looking. Like, it's clearly a guy like wearing a weird old man mask. He's a weird looking.
So they get to Hobbs End, and the editor like notices immediately that like this is the Hobbs End that Sutter Kane has written. To the point that they go check in at a hotel or motel, whatever. In the name of is Pickman's. Mrs. Pickman is the lady who runs it, but it is like to a T described in Kane's books. The editor knows where a painting is, where a loose board in the floor is. I mean, she like predicts it all, and at this point she's starting to like maybe get freaked out. Sam Neill's still kind of being a jackass about it.
I love the old lady. Mrs. Picton is the fucking
real creepy looking.
She was creepy.
She starts out like a sweet old nan,
and it wasn't just the way she looked. Like, she genuinely had some acting skills of like, hey, listen, when I'm an old man, of course I'm gonna scare people. That's like what you do.
So they check in, they go upstairs, and Sam Neill makes some like snarky comment saying like, if this was Sutter Kane's book, then there would be a Greek or a Byzantine church out this window. And he opens it up, and it's just like an old shitty looking barn.
It's nothing.
But the editor quickly says, if you'd read closely enough, you would have seen that it was
Linda
to the east.
Styles. Linda
Styles.
Not the editor.
She has a
Linda
name.
Styles.
But she points out that if he'd paid attention, it would have been through the east window. And she opens it up, and sure as sugar, there is a big, like, crazy looking black church out in like the middle of nowhere. Very, very like cool aesthetic.
Thing's awesome.
It's like a Windows background.
That does exist. That's a real church.
When it does, it is a Greek Orthodox church, and it is genuinely surrounded by nothing. Which is neat. I think it looks like, as I was saying, a Windows desktop background from like 1999 or whatever.
Or even now, man. They've got some pretty lame ones.
It's all pretty much the same shit.
It's the same shit.
So, anyways, they start investigating. They go to the church. Weird sequence where like the townspeople show up and they're demanding for their kids back. And basically, like, Sutter Kane kind of like shows up and unleashes some Dobermans on the townspeople.
So Sutter Kane shows up in Hobbs End.
Yeah, he's
sends
in the
dogs
church.
out on everyone.
In the church, at the church. This crazy looking.
That's right. That's where they first meet him. He's like in the back room of the church.
Correct, but he doesn't say anything. He has
a typewriter, right?
In the back room of the church later on, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But like right now, he's just in the doorway when the townspeople are there demanding for their children back. And he sicks like a pack of like a full pack of Dobermans, like, I don't know, 15 Dobermans or something.
That's how kids learn, man. I mean,
these aren't the kids. These are the adults.
That's how adults learn.
That's how adults. I mean, a Doberman will put the fear of God in you if it's trying to be.
I'm scared of a Doberman. Like,
we love dogs. And nothing against Dobermans, but they can be intimidating if they're
they're just
off.
Intimidating looking. I've never really been around any.
Kind of like by design.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, anyways, these fucking townspeople all have guns. Everybody's packing. And they fire like 2 shots, don't hit a single one of these fucking dogs. And they're shotguns. And these dogs are not that far away. Like, we're talking like sub 50 yards. You should be able to pepper a fucking dog with a shotgun. I mean, you should never shoot dogs, but if you're trying to get your kids back from
any animal
like
or person's killing me,
yeah,
you gotta kill it.
Game's on there. Yeah, in that scenario.
In that scenario, I'd have killed a bunch of dogs.
Anyways, these fucking weenie ass townspeople, they shoot like twice and they retreat. And Sam Neill and Linda. John Trent and Linda get the fuck out. So they return back to the Pickman's hotel, which was also a Lovecraft reference to his work Pickman's Model. Little hidden gem.
Pickman's Model, check it out.
Check it out. But they go back and like there's some things have started to change. Like the painting on the wall has like disfigured looking people on it now. Some true Lovecraftian not necessarily body horror. I guess like mutating is body horror.
Yeah, the painting.
They're turning into fucking slimy old ones with tentacles and gnashing teeth and fucking eyes everywhere.
So I think what's happening at this point is like reality is fusing with fiction, and he's staying at this hotel with the old lady Picton or whatever, and things are starting to get weird. The painting's changing. He's having some weird visions and stuff.
Mrs. Pickman, the sweet old man before, now has dark, like, red circles all around her eyes. She's starting to look pretty fucking crazy.
She's starting to act a little crazy, too.
Acting crazy.
She's not normal. Her acting cannot be overstated how brilliant it is in this movie.
For a small... Well, I guess it's not even a small role. That's a decent role.
No, she's got some... She kills it as a creepy old lady.
Yep, that's... If I'm casting creepy old ladies, that's the one.
That's one of them.
If she's still alive, who knows?
She's dead.
It's a big
She
statement,
died
man.
in a horrible
Women
accident.
live longer than men.
She died in a horrible accident.
Okay, you sure?
Tentacles.
Tentacle accident. You know what they say, once you go tentacle, you never go back.
Well, that's how it was with my porn.
This is the first time you got finger popped or tentacle popped?
Hey man, once you get tentacle popped.
When you had your booty hole tentacle popped?
Yeah man. I don't know where to go with that, but once you've had tentacle porn, it's hard to go back to normal porn after that. Once you've shot your load to that,
What?
you're in pretty deep because it's like what's his name? William Burroughs. He said like you could condition me to fucking be sexually attracted to an old shoe. And his point was say you're just like jerking off to some shit.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it's like chicks shoving an octopus deep inside her pussy.
Yeah, fisherman's wife.
And it's alive and it's trying to get out. And then it's like, oh, I'm just going to make this my new home. And just inhabits her like a shell.
I think that's called vor. In the specific subset of strange.
Oh damn! You know the
porn
subcategories of Pornhub.
That's deeper than Pornhub, man. That's way deeper than Pornhub. Oh god. Talk about like a time when you like really maybe hope your like grandparents and forefathers aren't looking down on you when you're blasting a load. Just some crazy tentacle porn. I mean, like
I've seen it. I've seen a lot of demons. It's out there.
Well, you lived in Taiwan for 5 years, so you've seen the full gauntlet of tentacle.
I've seen that shit in real life.
What?
Yeah, man.
The life you've lived.
Tentacles.
It's just the things you can't unhear.
Hey, man. Actually, I'm allergic to squid. Fuck squid.
Are you really?
I am allergic to
You're allergic to squid? No calamari, huh?
Nope. This is totally unrelated, and it's not gonna be left in.
No, this is coming out for sure. Some of this was okay.
We can just go back to
the tentacle porn part was great. That stays in without a doubt, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so getting back on track. So Mrs. Pickman is like starting to like show some signs of mutation. The town is getting more and more eerie.
There's some creepy children, right?
Yeah.
It gets the children first.
So they get in an argument. Oh, back to Linda and John Trent. They get in an argument, kind of like she's starting to basically catch on. Perhaps because she's more familiar with Kane's work, but she's starting to insinuate that like the fiction is becoming reality. And you know. And Sam Neill's not having it. He's
being of a more rational mind, like
this is reality. He says that like a fucking few times and like knocks on a table. You know, like as if that is a definitively like sound argument that this is indeed reality.
Hey, man.
So, anyways, they kind of get like a little argument or whatever. They split ways. Sam Neill goes to the bar where he sees one of the fathers. Who had, tried to retrieve his child earlier. And basically he gives them kind of like some ominous warnings about how it infected the children first and then spread to him and he needs to get out.
This guy's fucked up.
And
fucked up old man.
Yeah, and Sam Neill's just, fucking drinking his beer in his giant mug.
He's chilling.
I wonder, do Kiwis drink Fosters? Do Australians drink Fosters? I don't know.
Australians do not drink Fosters.
I had an Australian.
That's good branding.
I had an Australian broad tell me once that Australian girls like American men because we hit like pussies.
Because we what?
We hit like pussies.
That's fucked up.
Isn't it though?
That's rude.
Dude, yeah, my fucking
that hurts my feelings personally.
I know. It was the most emasculating thing I've ever heard a lady say.
Exactly. The Aussies, they're pretty cool. but y'all are fucked up.
Well, I mean...
You're descendants of criminals. I read in my history book that they distributed to me from the government of the United States of America.
It's probably government lies.
It's gotta be true. I believe all that shit, first of all. Second of all, manifest destiny.
Drink the American Kool-Aid, brother.
Hey, man. You're
wearing fucking red, white, and blue shorts right now. Listen to you.
Like a goddamn patriot. Have you ever seen the movie The Patriot with Mel Gibson?
Yeah, it's like maybe my third favorite axe scene of all time. I guess Hatchet.
I'm like him, but even more.
Okay, I'm in.
But less anti-Semitism.
Yeah, we haven't forgot Mel.
We haven't. No one's forgot. That ruined his career.
It did ruin his career. That man ain't been in shit recently.
Alright, going back. Fuck you, Mel Gibson.
So Linda Stiles, while John Trent's in the bar, goes back to that fucking church, and she sees like the pack of children, and they're starting to get deformed.
These children are fucked up.
The little girl's teeth are all fucking gnashy.
When we watched it, we had the discussion of like, if these little kids were gonna attack you,
how many could you take down?
How many could you take? I mean, are we talking with guns or with bare hands?
Bare hands. Both.
I mean, I'd imagine
bare
after
hands.
hitting enough like little child skulls with your fist, it's gonna be like shattered basically.
You got
it depends.
elbows.
I think the move would be to lift them up and slam them down repeatedly.
Dude, just pile drive them like Stone Cold Steve Austin, man. Very good.
Yeah.
That's minimum damage to you. Maybe your knees get worn out, but they're gonna suck when you're old anyways.
I mean, at that rate, honestly, I bet I would definitely, probably 200. If I'm being honest, it depends on how.
Dude, they're gonna swarm you around 50.
Well, how many do you have to fight at once?
Dude, it's a mob.
The whole
the
mob?
The wave of...
Oh, maybe like 40.
40. I feel good about 40.
I mean, I feel like 40 might even be pushing it. I don't know. Like, what are they trying to do?
Yeah, can we do a warm-up round?
Are they gouging out your eyes and like fucking...
Yeah,
all
dude, these kids
shit?
are trying to rip you to pieces. Bite, chew.
30 or 40.
I want to do a trial run of 10 and then assess what difficulty I want to try this at after that.
Well, I think with the VR shit now, you probably can. I'm not sure what Japanese developer. Zombie children.
Zombie children.
So you gotta like do a definitive kill.
We would never ever harm.
You have to kill the brain. Kill the brain.
Kill it.
If we're talking about average-sized elementary school students, probably 30 or 40. They're swarming.
You heard it here, folks. 30 to 40. So the fucking kids are there, and there's this like collie the kids were chasing earlier, or some other little sheepdog.
They keep chasing this dog every time you. This movie's got some weird artistic sequences. You see like weird flashes.
Sure.
And it keeps showing these kids chasing a dog. And then later on, they show the dog.
Yeah, at the point we're at in the movie, when the fucking Linda's talking to the little kids, she says, "Are you my mommy? Today is mommy day."
Oh, that shit's
fucking weird. But
today is mommy's day.
Yeah, they fucking like caught the dog and ate one of its legs, and like the dog.
Feral children.
The dog.
And there's an epidemic of feral children happening in our country right now. I believe.
I believe as well. Can't be trusted.
In production, the first three-legged dog they had ran off, and they couldn't find it, so they had to procure. Some poor motherfucker's job was to procure another three-legged job. Three-legged job? Procure another three-legged dog. Imagine how many phone calls this guy had to make on the fly, on location.
Hundreds, maybe.
In the middle of nowhere.
But they were able to do it, so we get a scene of a dog with his fucking leg chewed off. hobbling away, whimpering, and we see these little demonic children.
I had a 3-legged cat once.
So now here's the thing, though. She just, like, throws their fucking ball back to him, and, like, that's it. The children's role in the film is done from then on. As Linda approaches the church, which, again, this is taking place in, like, the lawn of the church.
They're fine.
I mean, other than eating a dog's leg, yeah, they're great.
What is their agenda, though? Like, what are these kids?
They were the ones...
Why did they eat that dog? Are they hungry?
They were the ones touched by, like, Cain's influence, and thus, ultimately, like, the old ones, the slimy, dark ones, back in the deep, fucking got into the kids' minds first, and that's how they started to grow their influence and begin to alter reality, and it, like, then spreads to the parents, which is
what is the end goal of this dark...
The old ones are trying to come back. Like, they're trying to re-enter our world.
They're literally demons who are going through some interdimensional gateway into our world.
I mean, maybe demons isn't the right word, but yeah, something like that. Beings. Fucking...
Well, we solved them.
Beings
they're
grotesque.
Scary, grotesque,
foreign
monsters.
to man. It's what lurks in your subconscious, as I think I said earlier.
A lot of tentacles, a lot of dicks.
Teeth. Again, that's my superpower. There are not a lot of dicks in the movie, or maybe what isn't a dick when we're talking about the old ones.
As far as superpowers goes, not that bad.
Not that bad. I thought it was pretty good, man.
There's worse ones.
Yeah,
it's odd. It's odd to say the least. But I think. You know, it's better than, like, having a giant vagina.
Well, imagine my fucking OnlyFans account, dude.
That's gotta,
fuck this podcast. I would just be popping dicks out of my body every which way on OnlyFans 24/7.
Find him, guys, on OnlyFans. Dictopus420.
So, at this point, Linda... enters the big black church, the BBC,
the big black church,
big black church,
gospel singers, everything,
and she encounters Sutter Kane, and they have like an exchange where he basically reveals to her that he's molding reality with his writing at this point.
What a dick!
What a fucking dick!
Why can't you make reality good? That's what I think. That's what I say to God all the time. Like, why? Again, if you're writing this shit,
the old ones are like filling his brains with these thoughts. He's just like the medium, basically.
Fuck the old ones.
Yeah, I mean definitely because they're about to fuck the world up. But again,
why do they want to fuck the world up?
Because they want to come back. They've been like banished or pushed out, or just like had been hiding in the recesses of another plane. So he shows her the book. Fucking her eyes start bleeding blood. She returns back to the hotel like in a stupor, talking about like I'm losing me. And her mind's turned into mush because she got exposed to the final book in the Mouth of Madness.
Linda Stiles, right?
Linda Stiles. So she goes back, and John Trent, still is like basically not having any of this shit. And he goes to tries to go to the bar. He starts seeing some more like bizarre stuff with the Pickman's residence.
Yeah, I mean, are we at the point where like she just turns into a monster?
Basically, but he goes down into the basement and finds her down there with her husband like handcuffed to one of her fucking tentacles, and she just like axe murders him.
Yeah, she's grown tentacles.
They did the scene with a puppet because it was like cheaper than full size
practical
effects.
If you've seen the thing, you kind of know what kind of style of special effects we're talking about.
Practical effects.
Practical effects. I personally love this shit way more than CGI. I think it's of the era that we came from. Like, it's hard for us to make the jump to CGI. I would imagine you're the same, but like, pretty much any practical effects, I like more.
If you go like the full distance for the practical effects, it's expensive, and that's why studios have edged away from it.
But it's amazing.
But it looks so much better. It's like a true art form, and I'm not trying to discredit CGI because there's a tremendous amount of work that goes into that.
And a lot of it is weird puppetry.
It is, but it's fucking
and
dope.
The puppet, so the grandma becomes a puppet that has all these tentacles coming out of her. Then she's like they're bursting out of her chest, and kind of like Dick Man.
And again,
was your superhero Dick Man?
We haven't given it a name, man. We're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm still finding myself in my mutant identity.
Find it.
I don't even know if Xavier's school's
don't
gonna accept me.
Don't let anyone dick shame you, bro.
Pop a giant boner in their face if they do.
Black eye.
Pachow! So the Mrs. Pickman is like chopping up her husband. John Trent flees the scene. He sees at some point like the painting that had been noted earlier by Linda. Now the people are fully transformed in it. They're like these like on the ground
slug monsters with tentacle faces. Almost.
Fucking grotesque,
deformed things.
Awful things. Yeah. So
you don't want to be that.
They like he flees the scene. Goes to a bar, runs back into that like dad who couldn't get his kid back from the church earlier, and the dad basically says like, I have to do this, and like puts a shotgun in his mouth. He says it was written this way.
And he's like turning into a mutant already.
Oh yeah, he's starting to turn.
He kills himself. He blows his brains out with a shotgun.
Yeah, he pops his gourd.
That's when you're like thinking, man, the only way to get out of this shit is with a shotgun.
Yep. Fucking
pretty dark.
The old Hemingway.
Pretty dark.
Yeah.
Pretty dark shit.
It is dark. If you are having suicidal thoughts, please seek help. It is out there. Don't pop your melon.
No, I mean that is her existential right, but just imagine all the sadness you resonated in the world.
Sure. I'm not saying like I can tell you not to do it. I'm just saying reach out. People care. People do.
Exactly. People will care.
100%. So anyways, dude pops his melon, and at this point, Sam Neill goes to the church and basically encounters Sutter Kane himself for the first time, and it's when Sutter Kane starts, basically telling him that, like, I'm like a god now, and I'm melding realities, altering, changing, creating reality.
In some way, being a fiction author is like being a god of your own universe.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point it's playing into. Stephen King has created an entire reality.
Sure. Or like Terry Pratchett, or any number of countless authors who've fabricated these incredible worlds. But in this instance, it is the reality of the character, and in fact, Sutter Kane reveals that John Trent is his creation. He wrote him into existence.
Mind fuck.
Which, obviously is not well received by our protagonist.
Well, I mean, that's basically what I hear. That's not that far off when I hear the, like, oh, God has a plan for you. Right?
Yeah.
It's a perfect analogy. That's a direct...
already predestined.
Exactly. Like, oh, God has a plan for you. Don't worry, God has a... But in this world, it's like, oh, Sutter Kane.
Sutter Kane has a plan for you.
His plan for me is I blow my brains out.
Sutter Kane's plan for me is I turn into
but
a
on that
monster.
note, like, those things do happen. So, did Sutter Kane write that? Or did God write that? What's happening?
I mean...
Like, if you're gonna buy into that belief that God has a plan for you, how do you explain those occurrences? It kind of starts to fall apart around that point.
It does.
My personal belief, it's like,
there are certainly...
well, why are there starving children?
There are certainly some gaps.
America.
in the rationale behind there being, an all-loving, benevolent creator. And
There's a few gaps, really?
I could see how somebody might take that stance.
Gaps?
There perhaps are some that don't, some math that doesn't add up. But that's where faith comes in, and all of our faithful listeners don't listen to my
ties
heathen,
into this
my heathen host
movie, like
co-host.
Oh, I have faith that Sutter Kane. I have faith that Sutter.
Well, they don't
Kane
even have faith in him. It's just his writing is so profound it affects what they believe in. So it's like they believe in this horror, so it fucking gains influence American gods.
For the record, I believe in a higher power of some sort.
Sure. I think most people do.
Maybe, I mean, in the sense,
it's okay
maybe that higher power is we're just a cog in a larger machination of things that maybe they don't really have a purpose. I'm not saying that someone is consciously deciding what's going to happen to us, but in general, maybe we are a cog in a larger machine. We're a cog in a larger machine.
I think we all are.
Our higher purpose is to be that cog, and the higher power is the machine. And it could all be totally physics-based that actually has nothing to do with, like, any conscious entity that is like, deciding anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm tracking. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, maybe I should try to say that again.
No. I'm on board.
It makes sense. Like, my point is, maybe there's no one making maybe God or the higher power does not have consciousness. Maybe the higher power is just like a higher level of physics that we can't understand yet.
I mean, my bet's computer simulation.
Well,
but that's my right.
Even that is physics. Our whole world, as we understand, is based off physics.
That's unless our reality is like some kind of like, computer language that is just like totally far in and outside of our comprehension.
True. And how...
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's basic. Even DNA apparently is like a language.
It's definitely a lot of information.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like DNA is almost like computer code.
Fair. Okay. I'll bite, but for the sake of our listeners' attention spans.
Yeah, I don't know where I was even going with that, but it does get deep. It goes deep.
It goes deep.
It's kind of telescopic and just looping.
It goes deep like a Navy SEAL. That's a Wu-Tang reference for all of our listeners who might be too young to have been exposed to Wu-Tang. So, at any rate, at this point, the plot has been revealed, right? Sutter Kane says, you are my creation. You are in existence because I wrote you into existence, as is the town that we're in. And your role to fill is bringing my manuscript to the public, basically, and basically causing widespread dispersion. And
everyone who reads the book will slowly go insane.
And thus, like, the old one's influence increases and reality continues to alter. And there's actually, like, a quote from John and Linda's Ride into Hobbs End, where she says something, like, to the tune of, the insane and the sane could easily switch places. It just involves the insane becoming the majority, or the sane becoming the minority. Actually, I think that's how she words it.
Sounds like what's happening in America right now.
It does a little bit. It does. But, so anyways, the plot's revealed. John Trent finds out that his existence is to bring this manuscript back, and they got this fucking sweet tunnel scene where he's running down this tunnel. It was only about 50 yards long, but using some old stage magic.
This tunnel was intense. That part reminded me of the Dark Crystal a little bit.
Yeah, it is like...
Remember the cleaner machine that's like in the tunnel?
Yeah, it's like, it's like advanced puppetry and some like...
But in this film they said there were like, I thought they said there were 50 actors who made that
happen. Yeah. I do believe that's correct.
It almost looked like a vehicle that was like being pushed or something.
But this is like the one time we really get like a good shot at the monsters of the flick. Pretty much the only time. Every other time is like...
Monsters are expensive.
Mutated
$10 million
humans.
budget. How many monsters do you expect?
Well, that and Mrs. Pickman fully transformed into the tentacle monster in like the greenhouse pool area or whatever.
Yeah, the little old lady with tentacles bursting out of
that was the other real monster we get. But these are like full-fledged old ones chasing after Sam Neill, John Trent, as he runs away. And he runs, he trips, he falls, and all of a sudden he's just at an intersection where he encounters a young Hayden Christensen
Yep.
On a bike and asked...
The guy who fucked up all the Star Wars.
Alright, that's a controversial take.
In my opinion, he just... I did not...
The prequels are glowing on me.
The Star Wars...
They've had a glow up. It might be prequel memes. I don't know. But...
They're probably better than the new ones.
Agreed. The new ones...
I don't care.
The new ones don't have a... Well... I mean, it's gonna like piss people off who appreciate like the forward progress Star Wars is making, but ultimately, I think there's criticisms outside like any kind of political agenda you could associate with it that are fair, and it's like
I fell asleep during the
like fucking Finn should have been a Jedi, man. Like how do you take the first black other than Billy D. Williams, the first black actor who's a main component to the fucking plot, who has a lightsaber in his hands at one point, and the dude develops zero like Force or Jedi.
That is racist.
It is racist. That's
Disney,
a little.
Fuck you.
And it's a little fucked. And like again, I'm not trying to get on some kind of pulpit. We talked about the protests.
That's what we're protesting against right now.
I mean, they do like the weird love thing with like. Fucking Kylo and Rey.
I fell asleep during that part. I don't even give a shit.
It's stupid. It was bad. There were reasons to criticize that film outside of whatever political bias it might have.
It seemed pretty shitty. And I love Star Wars. I watched all of them.
Yeah, I watched all of them too. Rogue One.
During all the new ones, I fell asleep.
Rogue One was dope.
That's what my other buddy.
But hey, we're talking about.
He said watch Rogue One.
In the Mouth of Madness. Back to In the Mouth of Madness. So we're not talking about Star Wars. We'll get there eventually. But so he comes back to existence, and he basically it's in his fucking head at this point that like he is a character in a book. He like checks into a motel somewhere and destroys this manuscript that was given to him by Sutter Kane. And then a fucking dude just comes and delivers him another one. And he burns that one and like freaks out. Gets on a bus and has like a weird fucking vision or a dream where Sutter Kane's like, I'm God. And he says, did I ever tell you my favorite color is blue? And he wakes up and the whole world is blue, like sepia, but blue, whatever the fuck that's called. Yep. And then wakes up again, just like a true, complete nightmare, freaking out. But anyways, it slowly starts to like seep into our character that he is indeed just part of the book, and it's
part of the book.
The book is becoming reality.
Maybe we're all, as I said earlier,
we're all
if
fictitious.
You believe we're all part of God's plan, we are just part of the book. You're part of the book, motherfucker. It's already been written.
I'm the motherfucking main character.
We all are, man. You're a side character in my shit.
Yeah, you're just an NPC to me, bro.
An NPC. Pretty much. Pretty much.
So, anyways, he meets back up with like the publishing CEO to let him know about his findings. And the publishing CEO notes that he didn't send him off with any woman, so he has no recollection of that whatsoever. And then.
That part was a little fuzzy.
He divulges to John Trent that months ago he had already given him the manuscript or the In the Mouth of Madness.
Yep.
And that it was already on the shelves and the movie was coming out next month. And at this point, Sam Neill was like aware that this book is altering reality. It's letting the old ones in.
But was there a part where he rewrote the ending? He wrote that chick out of the book or something?
That was the justification that John Trent, Sam Neill's character, gave. He was like, that's why she's not here. That's why you don't remember. He wrote her out of the book.
Is that real though?
I mean, that's the thing. It's also fucking meta. What is real? What isn't real? But at any rate, the book is in the plot of the book now in the film form is being widely distributed, and we jump back to where he was being admitted to a psychiatric ward and kicked the orderly in the nuts.
Yep. Gotta.
And
always go.
So we're back.
That's my purse, or what is it from King of the Hill?
That's my purse. I don't know you.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
I have no testicles, Bobby.
That's a Great episode.
Dirty Pool, mister. Dirty Pool.
Great King of the Hill episode.
It is. I fucking love King of the Hill.
Amazing.
So anyways, we're back in the padded cell. There's fucking cruciforms everywhere. Sam Neill looks crazy. If he didn't look crazy before, he's crazy now.
He always looks a little bit crazy to me.
There's like a weird kind of like screaming monstery outside sequence. You know, we're from the perspective of the cell. We just see some shadows and lights in the hallways. When he like comes to the next morning, the doors open. There's shit ripped up everywhere, and Sam Neill begins to wander the streets, and eventually he makes it into a movie theater and sits down. No one else is there, just him, and the film starts playing, and the film is his story. It is the movie itself.
He is watching the movie.
He is watching the movie, and just he fucking loses it. His mind.
So this is breaking down. What would you call this? It's not breaking down the third wall. But
Fourth wall.
The fifth wall.
Sixth wall.
What is it? He's like.
It's like the movie we've been watching is the movie. I mean, it's so fucking.
What is the word for that though? It's almost like a weird Inception thing.
Or like a Russian doll kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like film form. I don't know.
I love that concept because I kind of do believe that is how all of reality might be based in some way.
Yeah, I think so. But it is like absolutely meta. And again, meta before meta was like a fucking real thing, basically. I mean, his entire existence is the fucking movie. And again, the whole world has pretty much been exposed. We hear like a little like radio broadcaster saying, if you haven't become infected, just avoid all contact with everybody, trust no one. But
yeah,
at this point, reality is folding. The apocalypse trilogy again is upon us. And the old ones are...
The old ones have reached our reality.
They have retaken the Earth.
Shit back.
And
they are tentacle monsters. Not unlike some of the shit I've seen in weird hentai. Correct, Andrew?
I wouldn't know the first thing. So, I mean, that's the movie, like, in a nutshell. Again, you know, I feel like it's a pretty strong selection for the far-out genre. Reality is bending, as someone writes it.
We quite enjoyed it. I mean, at the end of the day, it may seem like a film trope now, but at the time this was written, not a lot of movies are like this.
No, not at all. And, I mean, like... meta horror is fairly rare. Like you could say like Ju-On 2, the original Grudge or Grudge 2.
I've not seen that.
It's got some like kind of like timey-wimey bullshit as well that kind of makes it feel meta. But this is like
this is hardcore.
This
man.
is meta.
I get it, man.
And it holds up. It's 100% worth the watch. It's I love nostalgia. I love 80s and 90s flicks. It's got the perfect.
Such a great screenplay. Like, the dude who fucking wrote this shit.
Sam DeLuca, man.
That guy's the man.
And also, just a final call out as we kind of wrap things up. Jim Lang and John Carpenter put the score together. This score kind of stands out in Carpenter's works. He's known for very like synth-heavy soundtracks. You think like Escape from New York, The Thing.
It's notable. Little hard rocking.
Yeah.
Some kind of 80s guitar vibes a little bit.
Dude, it's like the fucking the rock that I thought was like what cool kids listened to in like 1994 or 5. Spot on.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, we were children, but
what do you think those cool kids are doing now?
I mean, probably like framing houses or fucking still smoking weed. So thank you guys for joining us for Far Out Flicks. We hope you liked it as always.
We are your hosts, Braden and Andrew.
But again, thank you guys for joining. Like, subscribe, please comment, do all the above. We love you. We love our fans. If there's something that you want us to...
Give us feedback. Let us know what you want us to do. If you just think we suck, then just don't listen to us. Fuck you.
But if there is something etching into the back of your brain, just fucking want us to do it.
Like, I really want them to do Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Or I really want them to do Existence. Like
Yep.
Yeah, or whatever the fuck you want us to do, let us know. Email in the comments, or sorry, detail section. Thank you guys.
Thank you, and have a nice night.